We're going to bring you back in one little moment with former Trump OMB Director Russell Vought. But I just want to make a few comments about this whole story. It's a great interview. But I absolutely love the headline from Reason magazine. OK, check this out. Quote, the White House claims borrowing $16 trillion over the next decade is fiscally responsible. All right. So that's point number one. All right. Since when is $16 trillion fiscally responsible? Number two, the subheading, even better. If you can't even get close to balancing the budget when unemployment is low, tax revenues near record highs, and the economy is booming, when can you do it? Now, that's point number two. Hats off to Reason magazine. Now, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is very smart, very experienced, very accomplished public servant, don't get me wrong. But she was kind of dodging my friend Edward Lawrence on the issue of tax hikes damaging the economy and falling real worker wages and the problem with all that borrowing. But one generic point I want to make is the Biden budget doesn't even bother to show balance at the end of the 10-year window. Not even bother. Not even a phony path to a budget balance. Not even ginning up outrageous growth projections or collapsing interest rates. I mean, the Bidens aren't even good socialists. I mean, here they are touting the efficacy of huge spending and huge taxing and huge regulating, but they don't really produce the goods in their own numbers. I mean, if you really believe this stuff, you should probably show 4 to 5% economic growth and a balanced budget in 10 years. Heck, maybe a balanced budget in 5 years. But what their budget does show me is they don't believe their policies will actually work. Now, of course, I don't believe their policies will work either. But you'd think if you really bought into the big government socialist model, you'd build in some good, rosy scenarios in the budget. But they don't. I mean, down through the years, most administrations, frankly, in both political parties, show a balanced budget over 10 years. A fiction? Yes, but maybe a useful fiction, even a disciplinary fiction, but not the Bidens. The OMB Biden baseline shows a combined deficit increase of $19.5 trillion. And the level of debt in public hands, $28 trillion in FY24 and $49.8 trillion in FY34. That's an increase of $22 trillion in debt. These are gigantic numbers, and they could never possibly pass for something called fiscal responsibility, which is how the Biden fact sheet describes their policies. And I'll just say again, there are no wars, no national emergencies, there's no pandemic, there's no nothing except record spending and taxing and deficits and borrowing. And so, as Reason magazine asks, if you can't even get close to balancing the budget under these conditions, when can you do it? That's my question, and that's my riff. Now,